Imagine if you could take a look at someone and instantly know what they are thinking. You would never have to second-guess someone's intentions, or even worse, overreact to a situation you misread. On top of this, you would constantly be one step ahead in any social situation. After all, knowing someone's thoughts elevates you to a whole new level of awareness. What if I told you that mind reading isn't just some superpower reserved for comic book heroes? Mind reading is actually a learnable skill, one that you can improve on with practice, just like any other skill. But before we dive into learning how to read people's minds, the very first thing we need to understand is people themselves and the motives that drive them. And when it comes to motives, it's really quite simple. People are always either running away from some form of pain or running towards some form of pleasure. Thus, this means they are either performing an action or giving a reaction. When they are performing an action, this is just doing stuff that affects what's around. Common things include talking and working. It's tricky to understand a person when they're doing things because they've become really good at seeming genuine over the years, like when they're telling lies. However, when people are reacting, this is where the powers of observation really come into play. This is how a person responds to what's around them. People react a lot when they're listening. Reactions come from inside, and it's tough to fake them. The expressions you see when someone reacts are usually real. Unlocking the secrets of mind reading starts with mastering the art of observation. That's rule number one. As you immerse yourself in this practice, you'll soon discover that people often follow similar patterns, offering you a glimpse into their thoughts. Imagine the awe when, prompted by a situation, you find most people echoing the same responses. Suddenly, you're on the verge of looking downright telepathic. The first thing to get into a habit of is to keep an eye on what people do, not just what they say. Don't take everything they say too seriously, especially when they're trying to convince you. Here's why. Number one, they only share what suits them. People have a self-image of how they want to be perceived and will go to great lengths to portray that self-image. Number two, people tend to talk about things that make them look good, influenced by their own beliefs. Number three, people sometimes don't tell the truth. Even if they're not lying or trying to make themselves look better, what they say might be more about who they want to be, not who they really are. For example, when things go wrong, they might not admit fault, but if things go well, they're quick to take credit. So focus on what they do. Actions speak louder than words. There's no real substitute for that. One thing to keep in mind is that the powers of observation are used essentially to detect deception or incongruencies. Navigating the thin line between truth and lies is both an art and a science. Lies come in various forms, and understanding these nuances is key. Here's a nugget of wisdom. Research suggests that individuals avoiding eye contact aren't always concealing the truth. The game of lies has evolved, revealing a level of cunning that demands your keen awareness. This means you need to pay attention to many different factors. For starters, make sure you're paying close attention to the stories people tell you. Even though actions are crucial, what people say and how they say it can reveal a lot. Listen intently, especially if it's not a complete story, but fragments you're piecing together. Look for any differences in what they say. Also, take note if they talk a lot about one thing or too little about something else. Look into their eyes as they speak and see if there are any micro-expressions, which are brief, involuntary facial expressions that can reveal true emotions. While they are subtle and fleeting, training yourself to notice them can enhance your ability to read people. Don't forget to listen to their tone of voice as well. A person who is comfortable generally has a relaxed, warm, or confident tone of voice. On the flip side, you might notice that the person sounds annoyed or angry. In addition to this, keep an eye on how people see themselves. Most folks have a certain image they're proud of, like being good, smart, tough, or better than others. This self-image is a big part of the story they share with you. When something challenges this self-image, they might get defensive or angry. People usually reveal their self-image if they feel comfortable with you. If you want to, you can nudge them by making them stick to their self-image. Let's say someone thinks they're really smart. If they refuse to do something, you could subtly suggest it's because they're too smart to bother. Or perhaps, if you feel the need to antagonize, you subtly suggest that they are refusing to do something because they are not smart enough. Another important, yet sometimes overlooked aspect to consider is the person's background. How old are they? What is their religion? What country are they from? If they are from the same country as you, then how were they raised? All of these are factors that have an important impact on what someone is thinking at a given time. Understanding someone's cultural background can offer insights into their traditions, values, and communication styles. It may influence their preferences, beliefs, and the way they express themselves, and will help you piece together their frame of mind. You can entertain this further by asking open-ended questions, which will encourage people to share more about themselves. This allows for more extended and detailed responses, providing you with more information. As they answer your questions, observe their body language. The way someone moves and acts with their body can show things they might not say or know about themselves. For example, if someone says yes, but their body language looks like no, it could mean something is not quite right. By mastering this skill of reading body language, you could learn things about a person that they themselves might not even be aware of. And lastly, this is one of the most, if not the most important skill in mind reading. That skill is the ability to set aside your own biases and judgments. Being in control of your emotions is necessary in order to read another person effectively. If you are not in control, then your judgment will be clouded, or even worse, the person you are trying to read will read you in return and may end up being closed off towards you as a result. The key to being an effective mind reader is to gather evidence before you make a judgment on how someone might be feeling, rather than the other way around. Suspend judgment and try not to impose your own beliefs or assumptions on the person. Instead, focus on understanding their unique experience. Give the person the time and space to express themselves. Be fully present in the moment, showing that you are attentive and genuinely interested in what they have to say. Pay attention to recurring emotional patterns in the person's behavior. Understanding how they typically react in certain situations can enhance your empathetic understanding. If appropriate, share your own experiences that are similar to theirs. This can create a sense of connection and make the person feel understood. You can even take this a step further by exposing a vulnerability about yourself to learn more about the person you're speaking to. People often mimic each other's energy. Once they learn something personal about you, they are more likely to tell you something more personal themselves. All of these are core essentials that form the foundation of mind reading. As mentioned earlier, mind reading is a skill that takes practice. You must constantly hone your skills of observation, and eventually you'll find yourself capable of reading a person effectively, quickly, and efficiently. Until next time, stay aware, stay empowered, and remember, knowledge is your greatest defense against the unseen forces that shape our world.